Let's get this started so I don't hold you up. I really, really appreciate you being here. I'm Marcy Schonborn of ShowFit, and you showing up tells me something. It tells me that you care about your health and you want to learn how to live better. And that is exactly what I'm always trying to convey in every teaching that I do on every health topic. Tonight's topic is about hormones. So hormones, menopause, and metabolic confusion, understanding the why behind the chaos. And so something to think about. Why does it feel like everything goes sideways during menopause? Energy, mood, weight, sleep. And there's actually valid reasons. And so we're going to unpack why menopause feels like such a turning point and explore how real food supports hormonal balance, especially through the lens of natural GLP-1. So I'm not talking about the shots. I'm talking about naturally activating GLP-1 in your lower intestine. So let's start by saying this clearly. Menopause is not a disease. It's not something to be fixed, cured, or feared. It's a natural biological transition, just like puberty, but in reverse. The big shift in menopause is in your hormones, especially three key ones: estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone. These hormones have been working quietly in the background for decades, regulating your cycles, your energy, your brain, your bones, your skin, and more. As their levels begin to decline, your body starts adapting. But that adaptation isn't always smooth. And, I know I just said they've been working in the background quietly for decades, and we also know that's not even always the case now. PCOS seems to be rampant. And so people that suffer from PCOS, women that suffer from PCOS, certainly are, it's not silent quietly in the background, and it's a huge struggle. But we're even seeing people with PCOS recover from that in when they start eating with me. And so we're going to break down how these hormonal shifts affect you in real life. So your metabolism slows down. You might notice that your body starts storing fat more easily, especially around the belly. That's not because you've suddenly started doing something wrong. Estrogen helps regulate how we burn calories and store fat. When estrogen drops, your body becomes more efficient at storing, especially for energy reserves. It's part biology, part self-preservation, but it feels like betrayal. And while we didn't suddenly start doing something wrong, here is a little bit of information. It is a sign that we weren't taking the best care of ourselves. So if we were taking better care of ourselves, then we are not going to see menopause and perimenopause be as big of a betrayal as we feel like it is. So brain function can feel foggy. Ever walked into a room and forgotten why? Or found it harder to concentrate, remember words, or stay focused? That's real, and it's not just aging. Estrogen actually supports brain neurotransmitters, especially those tied to memory, focus, and alertness. Less estrogen can mean more mental fog and slower cognitive processing. The good news, this isn't permanent, and your brain can adapt with the right support. And so the right support would be nutrition first, and then good brain supplements. And my clients even know, I joke about, I take neuro supplements that we have at ShowFit, and they can tell when I'm teaching, if I'm teaching later in the evening, which is a very long day for me, my brain starts, I call it mental pause, and they will catch me tripping over words and struggling to get from point A to point B. But they can even see when I take those neuro supplements, I don't struggle. So they really, really do work. And hello, everybody that's popping in and saying hello. I will see all of you when I get done talking, but I'm so glad you're here. So glad you're here. So mood and sleep take a hit. But here's the thing, everything I'm telling you about, food affects. So it doesn't have to be as bad as it is. So mood swings, anxiety, sleep that just disappears. These are symptoms of the most distressing but these are some of the most distressing but misunderstood symptoms. So estrogen and progesterone both play a role in regulating serotonin, your feel-good hormone, and GABA, your calming hormone. As these hormones drop, your brain chemistry shifts as well, which can lead to feeling unsettled, irritable, or low. And when sleep goes out the window, everything feels worse. Hormonal changes disrupt your circadian rhythm and reduce sleep, restful sleep. So even when you do sleep, it doesn't feel like enough. And here is the problem on top of that. If we are eating highly processed foods, those chemicals are also messing with our brain and messing with our serotonin and messing with our GABA. And so this can make menopause so much worse. Does not have to be as bad as we're struggling with. And I started eating the way that I eat now 11 years ago in the throes of horrific menopause. And so I saw the difference when I changed my nutrition. And it made it so much smoother. It didn't mean that every symptom just went away, but I was no longer having panic attacks when I had a hot flash. And all the multiplication of the effects seemed to just fade away. So insulin sensitivity drops and fat storage rises. Menopause also affects how your body handles blood sugar. Lower estrogen can make your cells more resistant to insulin, which means your body needs to release more insulin to get sugar into your cells. High insulin levels promote fat storage and can lead to energy crashes and cravings. This shift makes it easier to gain weight and harder to feel steady energy throughout the day. Put on top of that, eating garbage, and again, it multiplies. Makes it far worse than it needs to be. So you're not imagining the changes, you're not broken, and you're not undisciplined, but if you were eating better, it wouldn't be as bad. So you're disciplined in the way you've always been disciplined. We can change that. You're in a new hormonal landscape, one that deserves understanding and respect. And once we understand the why, we can talk about how to work with your body instead of feeling like you're constantly fighting it. So the overlapping storm, why it gets so confusing. So now we understand what's happening with hormones, but here's where it gets really tricky and honestly really frustrating for a lot of women. What makes menopause so confusing isn't just the hormone shifts themselves, it's the overlap, the way menopause symptoms look and feel just like a bunch of other health issues that happen around the same time. And the reason I even put this talk together and the reason I'm writing a book called More Than Menopause is because most women that come and talk to me, when I'm taking notes and I'm interviewing them and getting their health profile, the same sentence comes out of their mouth. Once menopause hit, or once perimenopause hit. And really, that's not what happened. What happened was you weren't eating well before that, and you wouldn't have even felt it hit. So it comes in like a storm. It comes in like it knocks you on your hiney, and it doesn't have to. So the symptoms that overlap, brain fog, cravings, fatigue, weight gain, mood swings, diagnosis, poor blood sugar regulation. So that's certainly going to throw off A1C. Inflammation from processed foods. Inflammation is the root of disease. Chronic stress, poor sleep, nutrient deficiencies, all from poor nutrition. So now you've got this perfect storm. Is it hormones? Is it food? Is it stress? Is it burnout? It's a big, fat, hairy combination. So we fix all of it, and it's much more gentle. So timing confusion, midlife is already a lot. Menopause doesn't happen in a vacuum. It usually shows up right when life is already demanding more from you than ever. Often we have aging parents, so we have, stress level there. Teenagers or adult children, stress level there. Career shifts, stress level. Sleep disruption, relationship changes, grief and loss. So many things are going on as we age, and then dump menopause into the mix. Good times. So your body is changing and your life is full. This is not a coincidence, it's a collision. And it makes it really hard to untangle what's just hormones versus what's being driven by stress, exhaustion, or lifestyle patterns. So the common misattribution is that it's just menopause. So we want to blame everything on menopause, and that's really not the case. And so here's the trap. When everything feels hard, it's easy to throw it all into one basket and say, well, this is just menopause. But sometimes what we think is just menopause is actually blood sugar crashes from unsteady meals, inflammation from ultra-processed foods, chronic stress burning out our nervous system, disconnection from our bodies and needs. Because especially as women, we know we just keep plugging along. We don't stop and visit our needs. So when we chalk everything up to menopause, we miss the chance to intervene in ways that can help naturally and powerfully. So yes, hormones are shifting, and yes, that matters, but they're not the whole story, and they're not the villain. Understanding this overlapping storm helps us respond with curiosity instead of blame. And when we're curious, we start to ask better questions, the kind that lead us to real solutions, starting with food, lifestyle, and awareness. So now let's talk about natural GLP-1, the unsung hormone helper. So by now we've talked a lot about estrogen, progesterone, and the classic hormones of menopause, but there's another hormone that most people, until the GLP-1 shot became all the rage, people had not even heard of GLP-1. And GLP-1 activated in our lower intestine with food is one of the secret sauces why my clients see such success. It's why they see the weight come off. It's why their body heals. It's why they reverse disease. So what is GLP-1? So glucagon-like peptide 1. And here's what you really need to know. It is a hormone made in your gut every time you eat. And so when you eat poorly, guess what? It's made poorly. When you eat well, it heals your body and does its job and helps your other hormonal systems. So it's one of your body's key metabolic messengers. Every time, it helps regulate your appetite. It helps you feel satisfied, not driven by hunger. Signal fullness to your brain so you know when you've had enough. Support blood sugar control by helping insulin work more effectively. So you can think of GLP-1 as your body's internal regulator. It helps you stay in balance, stay energized, and avoid those extreme highs and lows. But here is the problem. The GLP-1 agonist shot doesn't do the same thing. That's what scientists wanted it to do, but it does not work that way. Why GLP-1 matters even more during menopause. So why does this gut hormone suddenly become such a big deal in midlife? Because your estrogen levels drop, and estrogen actually helps stimulate and regulate GLP-1. So less estrogen equals less natural support for this system. At the same time, menopause increases the risk of insulin resistance, meaning your body doesn't respond to insulin as effectively, leading to more blood sugar swings, more cravings, and more fat storage. When GLP-1 is low and your body's already navigating hormone loss, it becomes much easier to fall into a cycle of constant cravings, emotional eating, energy crashes, and unwanted weight gain. Not because you're out of control, but because your internal signals are off. So the good news, you can support GLP-1 naturally. Your body can make GLP-1 effectively, and real food plays a central role in that. Supporting your gut, your meals, and your blood sugar is one of the most powerful ways to support your hormones, your energy and your sanity in menopause because it helps your GLP-1 do its job. So rather than fighting your body, what if you started feeding the system that helps regulate everything else? That's what GLP-1 represents, a powerful reminder that your body is still working with you, not against you. It just needs the right information, and that information only comes from food. It does not come from supplements. It does not come from a shot. I know there are companies out there as well that have a GLP-1 supplement, and if you've not looked into it, there are side effects with that as well. Whenever something isn't natural, we're going to pay a price, and it's not worth it. So the power of real foods supporting hormones naturally. So now that we've covered the hormonal changes and how GLP-1 fits into the picture, let's talk about something really practical and powerful, food. But not in the way you might expect. This isn't about dieting. It's not about clean eating, keto, paleo, or perfection. It's about understanding that real food is information. And during menopause, your body is hungry for better signals. So why real food matters more than ever during menopause? In your 20s or 30s, you may have been able to get by on coffee and chaos. But during menopause, your body is asking you to stabilize because so much is shifting. And real food helps you do just that. Here's how. It supports natural GLP-1 production. And as we talked about, GLP-1 is your body's appetite and blood sugar regulated. Real nutrient-dense food, especially with fiber and healthy fats, helps your gut make more GLP-1 and uses it effectively. So these diets that are taking fiber and healthy fats, seeds, nuts, beans, out of your diet, they are killing your GLP-1. So when GLP-1 is supported, you feel more satisfied, less reactive around food, and more in control of your energy. And it helps regulate insulin, cortisol, and inflammation. Menopause can make your body more sensitive to stress and more prone to blood sugar swings. Real food helps balance insulin so you don't feel like you're on a sugar roller coaster, calm cortisol, your stress hormone, so you're not constantly in fight or flight, reduce inflammation, which underlies so many issues, from joint pain to mood swings. So when we have a mood swing, we have joint pain, or we have a headache, or we have a tummy ache, that's our body talking to us. That is inflammation. That is something not going right inside our body. That's our body asking for help. And what do? We take pain pills or we get used to it. We don't handle the root. We don't handle the situation. And then eventually we break and we have a diagnosis. And so healthy food nourishes the gut, which talks to your hormones. Here's something most people don't realize. Your gut isn't just about digestion. It's a major hormone hub. A healthy gut microbiome helps process and recycle estrogen, reduce inflammation, regulate GLP-1 and other metabolic hormones. So when you feed your gut well, you're not just helping digestion, you're supporting hormone balance from the inside out. And this isn't about perfection, it's about partnership. So let's be clear, you don't need to count, track, or obsess, but you should eat to fuel your body. You should eat for wellness, you should eat for longevity. And this phase of life isn't about restriction. And when I say that, there are foods we should restrict. And here's what so you're like, Marcy, you're contradicting yourself. No, I'm not. There are foods we never should have had in our diet. They don't all of a sudden become unhealthy because we are older. They've never been healthy. So I don't consider that restriction. If you wouldn't eat rat poison, you probably shouldn't be eating some of the foods you've been eating. So this is about reconnection to food, to your body, and to the kind of care that actually works. Because the rules have changed, and so can your approach. I promise you can teach an old dog new tricks. So reframing from confusion to empowerment. Let's step back for a moment and look at the bigger picture. So many women arrive at menopause feeling confused, frustrated, or even betrayed by their bodies. I've heard that one a lot as well. I have had women reach out and say, well, my doctor's trying to figure out what my body's doing to me. Well, no, it's what you're doing to your body with the food that you're consuming. And your doctor doesn't have an education to figure that one out. Your doctor has an education to figure out how to medicate and keep you sick. So here's the truth. Menopause is not brokenness. It's not the end of something good. It's a metabolic pivot point, a shift into a new phase where your body simply needs something different. Not less from you, not shame, not punishment, just different information. So you're not lazy and you're not doing it wrong. If you felt like nothing works anymore, like you're gaining weight despite eating the same, that's the key, eating the same, because you were eating poorly to begin with and it caught up with you. So, or struggling with energy, sleep, or mood, it's not because you've all of a sudden failed. It's because you had the wrong information plugged in to begin with. So we're told to tough it out, to normalize discomfort, or to fix it with quick fixes and trendy solutions. But what we really need is better understanding. Understanding the why unlocks the how. So when you understand why your body's changing and how things like GLP-1, insulin, and gut health are involved, the confusion starts to clear. You start to realize that food isn't just fuel. It's communication. It's a tool, not a trick. And that tool, when used wisely, can help restore balance, energy, and a sense of partnership with your body again. So from struggle to strategy, this isn't about going back to how things were. Because if things were fine, if you were eating fine, you wouldn't be where you are. And so it's about moving forward with clarity, strength, self-respect, and new information. So your body isn't giving up on you. It's asking you to meet it where it is, with new knowledge, new habits, and a deeper connection. Because when you shift from fighting your body to working with it, everything changes. This is your invitation to do just that. So the next step is to look at how to support hormones and GLP-1 naturally through food. This is why my clients see the success they do in weight loss, health, and recovery. So if this talk intrigued you at all, please reach out to me. I would love to talk to you. I will answer any of your questions. I do a very no pressure consultation. I take a lot of information about your health. We talk about your needs, your struggles, your goals. You'll walk away with an understanding of why other programs have failed you. You didn't fail, they failed you. And so just understand you're not at war with your body. You're in a new relationship with it, and it is possible to feel good again. And I did put out feelers for questions. The same question kept coming up, and it's kind of personal, so I created a PDF for it. I'm not going to delve into it, but I have a free PDF to answer the question about feminine dryness. And I know it's an uncomfortable topic, but it is one I was messaged about a lot this week. So please reach out for that PDF if you need it, and that will be between you and I. So thank you all for being here. I will go through and see everybody's comments and questions. Reach out to me with questions. Reach out with me to get on my schedule for a health strategy session. If you've been on the fence about working with me, maybe this video is your sign. So I hope you have a great night. Be blessed. I appreciate you. Thank you for being here. Share this with your friends that need to hear it. And follow me on YouTube. Subscribe to my YouTube so you can see all the various talks that I do. Have a great night and see you next week.